God, I really am just asking for my own cease and desist at this point, aren't I? Yep, today we are talking about someone I have definitely never spoken about before, and this definitely isn't like my 8th video talking about this person, and it's definitely going to be a very fresh topic. Okay, you know what? As much as that was sarcasm, the last part of that was kind of true, because even though we are talking about Illuminati, again, there is so much more stuff that has came out, and it feels like literally every single day at this point something new comes out. And originally the only new piece of information since my last video on Blair was the fact that Oz Media has now been sent a cease and desist, which we will get into. But I wasn't going to cover that because I thought realistically I am just kind of milking it at that point. Like I can't make a full video talking about that, but there's so much more stuff. So we're going to be talking about this cease and desist. We're also going to be talking about another person who's part of Sad Milk who has came out and expressed their opinions and their experience with Blair. And then we're also going to get into something that is probably the darkest part of this whole story. Basically, about 4 years ago, Blair's ex came out and said a bunch of stuff about Blair, but no one really paid attention to it back then, and no one really actually had a chance to see it, but because of a YouTuber called Swoop, it has now become pretty widely known, and we are going to get into that information. But first, let's start with a cease and desist. Oh, actually, before we get into that, I actually forgot to beg you guys to subscribe in my last video, so I hope you enjoyed the break. But I'm back, so I am going to beg you to subscribe, because we're very close to 400k. If you could do that, that'd be lovely. Okay, so in my previous videos, we obviously saw that Blair was sending out a cease and desist to Wonderstruck, who then made a GoFundMe to help fund, like, this legal battle. Well, it turns out Blair is not stopping just there anymore. She is also sending a cease and desist to Oz Media, who was also part of Sad Milk. So Illuminati has officially sent me a cease and desist. Best part is, she cites parts of videos which I had no part in and demands I make a public apology. It seems like she really is just trying everything in her powers to ruin her own career at this point. I don't know what she's thinking. And Oz Media actually follows up by saying, I haven't even made a video yet, and then has a gif of someone laughing. So we are probably going to get an Oz Media video at some point. It seems like he doesn't really care about these cease and desist threats. Gotta remember, these cease and desists are after Blair's big statement talking about how she's going to take responsibility and all this stuff, and then she clearly hasn't, and she's now trying to silence people instead of taking accountability, because that's all cease and desists are at the end of the day. Like, yes, you can pursue them legally and it can turn into like a full-blown lawsuit, but realistically, in a lot of circumstances, and I think in this one as well, it is just a bit of a threat to try and get you to be quiet. But people aren't going to be quiet. In fact, after Blair sent out these cease and desist, it's making people want to speak out against them more. Like, you know, it's kind of like the Streisand effect, which I definitely knew the meaning of more than a week ago. Yes, that's right. If you've seen any of my videos on Blair, you would know I kind of struggle with words sometimes, but we've now learned the Streisand effect, and in this video, I've set my goal to be, I'm not going to see a word that I don't know the meaning of, okay? I want to be smart today. But speaking of people who don't want to be quiet, we actually have a video here from One Topic, who is part of Sad Milk, and he's actually released a 26-minute video giving his side of the story and just saying what his personal experiences with Blair, and just defending people, and like, just going through the bits of information that have been twisted. So I'm going to go through the bits of information that kind of link to my previous videos and stuff we've spoke about, as One Topic actually starts off the video by defending the clique with the whole like Discord situation where Blair tried to make it seem as if he was okay with pedophilia, you know, that mental take. But this is One Topic's opinions on the whole situation.
The retelling of how our group conversation went and using it as a way to frame the situation as clique not actioning soon enough or responding timely is simply a lie.
Wait, what? Blair would lie? I don't think she would ever do such a thing.
The one-on-one call was more to check in on, do you think he would support this person's behavior? And I said no, but that we should really be talking to him directly about this. Illuminati sounded pretty upset during our one-on-one call, and I wanted to be there for my friend, but I know without a doubt that clique would not support that person's behavior.
Yeah, it seems like every single person in this situation, other than Blair, was like, okay, there's someone who's absolutely disgusting in the Discord server, clique's not aware of it, let's get rid of him, and then we'll speak about it to clique once he wakes up, which would be the normal take. But for some reason, it seems like Blair was trying to make the clique look like he was okay with this, and in fact, as we get further into this video, it becomes pretty clear that Blair wasn't just trying to get the clique to look like this, she was also trying to turn people on the clique.
And I thought the best way to clear this up would be to just talk to him. It felt weird that we hadn't yet. We all got into a group call and confirmed everything had been taken care of prior to the call. The person had been banned, and no, of course, he doesn't condone their behavior, and if he had been awake for it, he would have jumped on it immediately, and that he'll talk to his mods about it directly, and so on and so forth.
That is literally where the situation should probably end, right? The clique is now aware of it. He can speak to the mods and be like, right, we need to kind of like knuckle down this a little bit, and we can't have this happen ever again. That should be the end of the situation. But of course, it's Blair, so naturally, it wasn't the end of the situation.
That was seen. Near the end of the call, Illuminaughtii stated that she wanted me to see the screenshots to fully understand the gravity of the situation, and I conveyed that since it was already shared between the two of them during the call, and the person was banned, and how Click was going to talk to his mods after this conversation, and with how everything was already discussed and solved, that I didn't need to see them.
Yep, a very rational opinion.
So wanting to keep the waters calm, I opened the folder and I looked at one of the screenshots, and then I reiterated in written text what I'd already conveyed, which was that I had no interest in having access to the screenshots.
Yeah, the situation is literally over, and Blair is still trying to make people see how bad it is and trying to make the Click look like it was kind of his fault, which is insane. But unfortunately, this is actually very tame compared to like some of the stuff we're about to get into, especially later on in the video with this, like the third part I wanted to talk about. And yeah, there really is a pattern going on here, isn't there?
I don't want to rehash the screenshot everyone has seen, but I actually DM'd Click immediately after the call, and this was our conversation regarding it.
Yeah, so he goes through this message here where he's just basically saying like, look, the situation's solved. And one topic even says that I'm sorry all of that got dumped on you at once, clearly showing that people's opinions when this situation was like very fresh was that it's not the Click's fault. And in fact, this getting dumped on him is just not fair in a single slightest. But for some reason, Blair's the only person who thought this was the Click's fault, so much so that she kept onto this for years and then brought it up in a YouTube video just a few months ago. I wouldn't be surprised if she kept folders on all these people like throughout the years in case she ever had to use them, because the fact that she brought up like situations that most people seem to have forgot about, even the people involved, is a bit sketchy. Now at this point in One Topic's video, he gets into like the whole alt accounts. If you remember, Blair actually made like a bunch of like fake Reddit accounts just to expose the Click and other Sad Milk members, which later got discovered to be Blair, and he goes on to say like that's what they kind of suspected at first, but they didn't want to believe it, and it's just sad that it's true.
I don't have a lot of interest in going over the Doobie Schmertz accounts themselves in detail. Either the one on Reddit or the ones on Twitter or however many other alt accounts. I worked with Click when it happened to contact the creators and friends that were tagged, and I know he apologized for his words that he said when he was 15. And Swedish. And learning English as a second language.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw Blair talking about like stuff that the Click had said and like previously. I wasn't even aware that the Click was Swedish. I didn't really know who he was before this situation. And his English is very, very good. So I just didn't know that he was Swedish. And then when I found that out, I was like, how are you going to use that against him? Like, how dare you take so long to learn English? Hey, coming from someone whose first language is English and doesn't know what it's like to learn English as a second language. Hey, God, the Click should be apologizing massively. Maybe Blair would have never been cancelled if the Click just actually knuckled down and grew up a little bit and decided to learn English once in his life.
There were specific portions of the posts on Reddit from the troll account that stood out to me, and intentional phrasing to drive a wedge between Click and I. And One Topic is friends with someone while pretending to be wholesome and good.
Oh,
I think One Topic
man.
is a liar and a sham, and has been pandering to our community if he stays friends with someone like this.
How evil is that, man? That's Blair on a fake account pretending to be a fan to try and make the Click and One Topic fall out, basically, and is now calling out One Topic for this. But you've got to bear in mind, this was Blair all along. That is genuinely so disgusting on so many levels. Like, she's trying to ruin friendships at this point and trying to make people believe that their public reputation is on the line and that their own fans, the people who they want to impress the most, right? If you're a creator, you want to impress your viewers the most out of anybody because they're the people who support your videos, they're the ones who watch, that's how you make money, that's your job, right? You want to make sure that they're enjoying your content and they have a positive outlook on you, and she decided to use that fact to try and get them to fall out, right? It's just so grim.
I didn't want to believe it. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around this.
I'm not surprised. If someone told me like that about someone I knew, I'd be like, obviously not. That can't be true. You would just never believe a story like that, but clearly it can be true. And I remember when the Click released his full, like, thread, I think it was literally my first video I spoke about it with iilluminaughtii. I saw that the Click mentioned that he thought these, like, alt accounts might have been Blair because this is before we had the proof. But I was like, I get it. Like, maybe you're just a bit paranoid about them and, like, the timing seemed a bit weird, but I highly doubt that, right? Clearly I was fucking stupid because she did.
I'm not convinced the person who did this did not intend real-world harm to us. The only kind of person who could slander their friends like this is someone who is darkly unremarkable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It seems like she had a lot of malice in what she was doing. And, you know, you see, like, situations and drama on YouTube where someone does something fucked up, but you can hold the opinion of that was fucked up, but I don't believe they were really going out there to be malice and try and ruin someone's life. It just so happens that what they did was grim and they need to learn from that, right? But from everything we've heard about Blair, it seems like it was so calculated and there was a lot of malice behind it. Yeah, I think that's the part that actually makes this like 10 times worse.
I really wish we could have been the friends you were looking for, but we were still your friends. What you did was unacceptable and goes so far beyond any petty beefs or squabbles or hurt feelings. This wasn't just trying to separate yourself from us like we asked for and worked to do. You acted like this was a war and that you should be recruiting soldiers to come after us. You lied. And I can only think that's because you wanted us gone. Not just off of YouTube. You wanted these lies to come into our everyday life offline.
Yeah, I mean, I could never understand how overwhelming this must be to have all this information dropped on you very recently when you've been kind of speculating over it for so many years. I just can't see, like, no matter what Blair says at this point, how it's gonna really have a positive effect on her unless she just takes full accountability. And at that point, like, are people really gonna accept her apology? I assume some people will, right? But for what we've seen with the cease and desist, I feel like she's still gonna come out and try and defend herself, and I just can't see how you can do that at this point. But yeah, that was the video by One Topic. I realistically only covered like 10% of it there, so if you do want to see the full video, that's obviously on his channel. But now we're going to move over to Swoop's channel. It's a video titled The End of Illuminati. She has always been this weird, the lies everyone missed in the downfall, and it's 2.5 hours, and the part I'm going to be talking about today is only like a 15-minute segment, but I highly recommend watching this full video because Swoop is like a ridiculously good creator and you'll get like a full timeline of exactly what's happened here. But the part I want to focus on today is when Blair's ex actually gets brought into it.
Illuminati is aware of how toxic and morally reprehensible these actions are, and has attempted to remove evidence from the internet by deleting her tweets and even editing down the private messages with other users in which she engages in these behaviors of bullying, threatening.
Crazy, right? This is a video that was about Blair from someone who was in her personal life, very clearly, I mean, it's an ex-boyfriend, 4 years ago, when he had nothing to really gain from this because everyone loved Blair. This isn't just a new video that's came out because they've seen, oh, Blair's getting a bunch of hate, maybe I could join in. This was posted so long ago, and I believe only has like 3,000 or 4,000 views on YouTube at this point, and this is after Swoop's video, so I can imagine maybe had a little bit less, but it's absolutely mental that we didn't know about this. So here's the channel in question. This is Blair's ex. It's called r/Devil's Advocate. I think they go by Azafan, and this was posted 4 years ago, right? And the video starts off with Azafan explaining that Blair would always be obsessed with certain YouTubers and trying to take them down, and this would like put a bit of like a stump in their relationship.
Outpaced by another channel. The others were merely nipping at her heels or falling behind. But r/, well, he was rocketing past, and her statements regarding his content were even more scathing. Eventually, she utilized information and statistics provided by a larger YouTuber to create the video that many still remember. A video taken down not because she believed she was wrong ever, but taken down because she saw it negatively affecting her subscriber count.
Yeah, so it seems like Blair's tried to twist things to take down people's channels for a long time. I mean, she twisted the whole thing with the click, with the Discord server. She tried turning, like, Wonderstruck's mental health against him to try and make him look bad. And from 4 years ago, at the very least, she was trying to take down a channel called r/ for what reason? Just because she was obsessed? And it doesn't stop there either, because Azafan goes into more details about how Blair was trying to just, like, harass other YouTubers.
I forgot the specific drama, but Misery Box was another big Reddit YouTuber whom Blair had disliked because he was having comparable growth while putting out content she said was, quote, shitty and derivative. I believe he was caught being a drunken D-canoe and was ostracized. Tragically, she then threatened and harassed some of his former mods on Discord when they couldn't give her everything she wanted from the situation.
Harassing people's mods, like, what a weird thing to do, man. Having a beef with a YouTuber is one thing, but going to, like, their Discord mods to, like, try and start beef with them? Like, how old are you? Apparently she's 30 years old. If this is true, this is absolutely mental, because she was in, like, her mid-20s when she was going to Discord mods to try and turn against them. I don't know, man. Nothing really shocks me with her anymore.
Not give her everything she wanted was basically, she didn't want to credit the mods who got the audio and spread it originally. This was audio assets that she had used. And when one mod got angry that she wasn't going to credit them.
Okay, wait, so she didn't want to give credit to these mods after they give her audio assets for her videos, but you've got to bear in mind, this whole drama started with her being upset that someone apparently stole her editing style and didn't give credit. So I mean, that's a bit ironic, isn't it? And then we actually get a phone call between Blair and her ex, Azafan, and it just kind of gives context as the stuff that Blair would say to him.
And put all this effort into it, you just kind of shut me down. It just seemed...
So it had nothing to do with the fact that I go, oh, I'm moving, I'm busy, I'm doing shit. every single day, the only thing you had to ask me is, when are we collabing? When are we collabing? When are we collabing? And it's like, oh, you're treating me like a fan, Blair. And I'm like, well, perhaps you should have stopped acting like one.
You want to say you don't attack me, but then you straight up cook and call me a liar over things that you are no 100% true. I'm done with it. I'm done with you.
Because God knows why, because you're bitter about a breakup because your cash cow left you.
Oh my god, yeah, she is the most unlikable person I've ever seen. How are you gonna call your ex a fanboy? Fucking hell. But you know what? These conversations actually get a lot darker than just calling someone a fanboy, and I mean, I'll let Swoop explain.
Azothan claimed that, quote, Blair and I had a phone call where she had told me that I was beneath her, that I was always going to be mediocre, and that she was better than that. And let me tell you what might be the most awful, heartbreaking thing Azothan shared with me. What he just said, you know, that Blair told him he was beneath her and mediocre. Here's why she used those specific words. Quote, about her calling me mediocre and a burden. Those words were the exact ones I used 5 months before when I attempted to end my life.
Yeah, I mean, that is obviously disgusting on so many levels. I don't actually have words that could properly do that justice, and unfortunately it doesn't even come across as shocking anymore because we've literally seen Blair leak Wonderstruck's suicide note and talk about his mental health openly and stuff like that, so it doesn't really come as shocking anymore. But the fact that this is a pattern that keeps reoccurring even 4 years ago is extremely worrying. Now, of course, it's worth mentioning that these are obviously all allegations. I don't know if these are 100% true. I'm just kind of like explaining what other people have said in the situation.
I discovered that she was spreading around her Discord server that I intended to release intimate photographs sent during our time together, and also claimed that I was mobilizing my server to raid her own. The latter came from a moderator in her server. Both are laughable accusations, as I have no intention of breaking any laws, nor breaking her trust quite that much. What took me aback and made me fear for my safety and my future were two things. A claim that she had already contacted a lawyer about this potentially Class D felony.
I don't understand why she keeps going to Discord to, like, explain these things. What are you doing? Like, even if you try and ignore the fact that she was just making up, like, very, very serious allegations non-stop, which it's very hard to look past that, right? Why are you going to Discord and saying this to your viewers? Very, very weird thing to do. But yeah, apparently it's more false allegations that have came over Discord, a bit like the Click situation. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly exhausting at this point. It's happening so much.
A couple months ago, I informed iilluminaughtii about someone on the internet threatening to dox me. We discussed this person in depth, and she even considered making a video about this person to call them out. A Discord user known as Cracker Snatcher, who had made threats of violence against me, as well as attempting to locate and disseminate my location and name. I was saddened to be informed by my friends that she had joined a Warcraft 3 Discord server solely for the purpose of providing and exchanging personal information with this extremely dangerous and unstable individual.
God, what is she doing? She feels like she's in some fucking mafia movie or something. She got in contact with someone who was trying to dox her ex-boyfriend to, like, join forces. And then if we look at these tweets here, she's saying, I'm happy I spent money on an attorney and I ultimately did not use him. I would rather have never been in this situation in the first place. Better safe than sorry, I suppose. And someone's replied saying, I thought you do Reddit videos. What is this? And then she said, shush, I had to handle business. Like she genuinely thinks she's a mafia boss. Also, when I'm looking at the messages with this person who was trying to, like, dox her ex-boyfriend and she wanted to join forces, what are they going on about here? I mean, he's replied saying, they want boys to be gay and they want girls to reject men. They send men to war, to prison. They want you to party all day and do drugs so that your families die just because you can be gay doesn't mean you have to be. What conversation are you having at this point? And she's basically trying to get in contact with him, and then she's saying, I would rather it be private. I mean, the fact that you want it to be private so bad probably should give an indication that's not a good conversation to have. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is like my 8th video on Blair, and for some reason there was still this much new information, which is extremely worrying, because if we literally put all my videos together at this point, we've probably got like an hour and a half's worth of content with just new bits of information. Like, it's not looking good in the single slightest. And we haven't even got Ozmedia's video yet, so I don't know what's going to be happening. I would love to know your opinions on everything we spoke about in today's video. I realized it was a lot. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and if you did like this video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new. Also, if you would let me know topics to talk about in future videos, the best way to do it is on my Instagram. It's @MARKIE, and it's always linked in the description. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.